Alright, hello friends. I haven't worn a baseball cap in years. So why am I wearing it today, you ask? Well, the reason is because I wore this hat throughout the entirety of my deployments overseas, and the story that I'm about to tell involves that time, so I figured I'd throw it on as a bit of an homage. It feels kind of weird, to be honest with you. I have not worn a baseball cap since I got out of the military. And it's not just that I haven't worn this baseball cap. I haven't worn any baseball cap. Interesting, strange observation. Something about the combat arms, man. It's like 90% of dudes wear baseball caps. I don't know why that is. It never really struck me how strange that is until I got out. But like while I was in, I was like, everybody wore a baseball cap. But anyway. So what is my point? First, let me say why I have not previously discussed these things and why I will not discuss them extensively in the future. It's because I actually have no desire to be on camera in order to talk about myself, right? So the obvious question is, then why are you putting yourself on camera, dude? And the answer is simple. It's because I want to build this channel in order to explore ideas and to talk. I especially am interested in talking to people of all kinds of belief systems and all kinds of ideas, and just exploring this wild reality that we live in. Maybe hopefully coming to a better understanding of this reality and of myself. But if not, having fun doing it. And the most important thing to me is coming across action items. I believe almost any belief system, almost any person, you can get action items that you can use to make your life better. And so, man, I've already talked to a wide range of people, but I just slapped my mic. But anyway, I've already talked to a pretty good range of people, and there's a bigger range coming, man. I'm going to be talking to shamans. I would love to get a Catholic priest on here. I'd love to talk to a rabbi. I'd love to talk. I just want to talk to people from all systems, not even just religious, spiritual systems. I'm really interested in consciousness, so I would like to talk to some more people who, scientists who investigate it from a more materialistic perspective. I just want to explore it all, man. That's what this is all about. I'm trying to learn things, and so I actually have no desire to be on camera, but this is a sacrifice I'm willing to make to achieve my goal, right? So putting myself out here, this isn't about me, but like I'm willing to do what I need to do to continue to build this channel to the point where I can talk to the kind of people that I want to talk to. That's really what this is all about. But but understandably, there have been a couple people who have overtly asked in comments and in emails about my general belief system, and then there have been just people who didn't come out and say it, just kind of little insinuations or whatever. But I figured that's fair enough. I could quickly go over that, right? So I'm going to quickly go over that. But, all right, so here's the deal. This hat I was wearing in the city of Mosul, Iraq. And I'm not going to go into details about this because a young man lost his life, and it's not my right to make his story my story. So just suffice it to say, I was out on a mission. We were ambushed. A young man who I knew, a young man lost his life. And it happened in such a way that it sent me on what I still struggle to describe. But here's an interesting thing about when this was happening. While it was happening, I meant to have this book beside me as a prop, but I do not. While it was happening, I was in the middle of reading the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying by Sogyal Rinpoche, which deals extensively with near-death experiences and with the actual death experience. And so after the events that happened to me happened, I looked back and I thought, well, maybe, and this is still fair enough. Like, if anybody's watching this, you're an atheist, materialist, and fair enough, man. Like, I'm open to debating and conversing with anybody about it. But because the fact is that what I had, I could best describe as a prolonged near-death experience, which I know is really weird. But later, when I was trying to make sense of what had happened to me, I read that it's not unheard of. There's actually something, I think, Atwater. Atwater is like, her and Moody are two of the biggest near-death experience researchers. I believe it was Atwater who I read used the term trauma-based near-death experience, that sometimes people have like near-death experiences triggered by somebody else dying near them, which is another mystery of consciousness, this whole consciousness thing, man. It's really weird and bizarre and mysterious. The further you go into the rabbit hole, the weirder it gets. But, yeah, so, okay. I'm not going to talk a lot about the event that happened, but what I will say is this. For the next 2 to 3 days, I had an intense, like I relived my life. And it is the same thing that was supposed to happen in a near-death experience, except that it happened over time, and it was like, I'm not saying it was definitely a trauma-based near-death experience or anything. I don't know. I'm saying after I went later and tried to figure it out, I was like, that feels like what happened. But it might not have been. And as I go into the story, maybe a lot of people will come away thinking, no, it was something different, and that's fair enough. But basically, for the interesting thing about it was, for the next couple of days, we ran more missions, and I was able to focus on the mission when I needed to. But then, the second the mission was over, I'd go back and lay on the couch, and I lived in this hooch, 2 other dudes. Each dude had a bed. I would sleep on the couch. There's 2 sets of bunk beds in there. I chose to sleep on the couch just because I'm a grown man. I felt weird sleeping in a bunk situation. So I just slept on the couch. And so, when we'd go back and we were hanging out at the hooch, I would just lay on the couch and stare at the ceiling and think. And so I had just this intense, I relived my whole life, just like people say in near-death experiences. It was really weird. But while it was happening, what was even stranger about it was that there was sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought because I was about to diverge to something else. But so what was even stranger about it was that while I was having this experience, what it felt like some kind of like a being, like a spiritual, godlike being, was showing me my life. That was the distinct feeling that I had, that there was another presence showing me my life. It was absolutely life-changing, which I'll go into. And I don't mean that, I'm not saying that with any hyperbole. It literally changed my life. And so, while I was sitting there and I was reliving all my life, there were a lot of things a lot of burdens that I carried of guilt and shame and a lot of emotional scars and trauma and stuff like that. And, I kind of worked through it, and I had to face all the things that I've done wrong in my life. And it wasn't pleasant. But at the end of it, man, I felt this love, man, and this forgiveness that it was unlike anything, man, anything I've ever felt before, anything I ever felt since. And it was this extremely powerful sense. It was like this. It was like this loving force that was just saying, dude, you did the best you could. And it's okay that you failed at some of these things because you did the best that you could. And nothing that I'm saying right now is going to adequately capture that feeling. It was a lifting of a burden. It's like I don't even want to talk about it because it feels like it cheapens it. Because there was nothing cheap about it. It was the most potent, powerful, cathartic, healing, beautiful, profound feeling that I've ever experienced in my life. And until that moment, I didn't realize how much I was burdening myself with all of these negative feelings. And at that moment, I felt like free of them. Now, I wish I could say that the transformation that happened after that moment was instantaneous, but it was not. And I continued to do some of the bad things that I had been doing before that. Continued to be a struggle. But it set me on a course, man. It set me on a path. Absolutely set me on a path. But more than anything, when you feel that, or when I felt that, and this is what I would say to any atheists out there, scientific materialist types, I respect your viewpoint. I do. It's totally cool. Like, you can, I understand people look at this and you think, dude, it was just some kind of psychological, that's fine. because I can't defend it rationally or logically. All I can say, man, is that nothing anybody can say can take away the cleanness, the clean beauty of that experience. In the profound, you know what? You know what I remember thinking? This just came back to me. I don't actually, you think you'd have an experience like this, like you'd think about it every day for the rest of your life, but I actually don't. It's actually been a while since I thought about it. And what I remembered feeling then was, this is the first time in my life I've ever felt reality. It's a weird thought, and again, I can't explain it. Like, you have to experience it. But it was like, I mean, I was still living in the same world I was in. I was still in Mosul. I mean, nothing outside me changed. But it was like all of a sudden an illusion had been pulled away, and I was naked in reality for the first and only time in my life. Not only, there's been a couple other experiences, but it was the most profound feeling of like, this is reality. As weird as that is, I know it doesn't make sense, but it was like the first time that I truly felt I was experiencing firsthand reality. And again, my light just tipped down a little bit. I don't know if things got crazy, but again, to those people who will look at this from an atheist, materialist point of view and say, dude, you're just having a hallucination. Fair enough, brother. Fair enough, sister. Like, I'm open to talk to anybody, and I understand from your perspective how you would feel that way. But man, that's not how it felt. And there's nothing else I can say about it. It's like, I reasoned and thought about it, and I tried to convince myself, dude, you just had like a psychological reaction, like, to the trauma, because you were reading this book about the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying. You experienced a traumatic situation, and that's all it is. But no matter how hard I tried to convince myself of that, it just doesn't work, man. It's like, sorry, dude. I had that experience, and I touched reality, and I felt touched by what I think was God. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm sympathetic to your doubts, but I know what I experienced, and I would be lying. And not only that, but the experience was so beautiful and so profound and so life-altering that to deny it and to write it off, I feel would be dishonoring and disrespecting the most beautiful and profound thing I've ever experienced in my life, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So I walk around as somebody who wants to be respected as being intelligent and rational and logical, but I can't turn my back on what I experienced. I just can't. And so, anyway, what was really weird about it, was that through this experience, I went through all these terrible things that I had to relive. But then at the end, there was like I said, there was the voice. It's hard to say because it wasn't like a literal voice. It's hard to say, but we'll call it a voice. The voice that said, Jeff, you did the best that you could. And it's okay, man. It's okay. You did the best that you could. You're a good person, ultimately, despite all of your failings. But, this was the thing, man. But you always wanted, I've been writing since I was a kid. But at some point I just gave it up because I was like, there's no money in fiction, or there's very little money in fiction unless you're somebody who gets very lucky. And I talked my way through all this shit. And just said, then none of this is real, and the whole writing thing's a child's stupid dream, and I just gave it up. And dude, as bizarre as it is, that voice, that same voice that said, it's okay for the mistakes that you've made, it's okay for the people that you've hurt. Like, let it go, man, let it go. You did your best. But what was not okay was giving up on writing. And this voice said to me, if you do not give your all to writing, to words, all of this stuff, you will die knowing that you were a coward and that you did not fulfill what you were put here for. And so, at some point on that trip, I was still over there overseas. That is when I decided to discipline myself every single day to write a certain amount of words every single day. I had no idea where I was going with it. I just knew that the one time that I felt like I had contacted reality in my entire life, it had told me that that's what I'm supposed to do. It's what I'm supposed to do, man. Freaking weird, I know. But here's the interesting thing. And so, like, when I went into it, I said to myself, like, I need to become like the next Stephen King or something, because I was trying to honor this force. You know, I was trying to, like, this is what I've been directed to do, and so I need to go accomplish this. And here's the thing. I never got close to being like Stephen King. I had some fiction published traditionally, and I'm proud of that. And making any money at all at fiction is really hard. So I know some people might look at it and be like it fell very short. But honestly, the fact that I've sold some stories for a few $100 I'm proud of that, because I know as a writer how hard that is to get somebody to actually give you money for fiction. It's extremely hard. But there was this point where, like, there were many points where I was like, dude, I've fallen so short. Like, why? Like, why did this voice tell me to do this? Why am I doing this? This is so stupid. Like, the amount of time and effort that I put into writing, if I had applied that to, like, say, getting a PhD, I could have easily gotten a PhD, right? So it's like, why? I mean, I worked day and night, and I still work extremely hard. I'm still dedicated to the path, but it's kind of changed as time went on. But, I mean, I worked like a dog, man. And, yeah, it did not go where I wanted it to go. But it did lead me to improve every other aspect of my life, and it led me to a new career. I am a professional editor and writer. It's what I do. And I understand that some people might not think that's a great accomplishment, but making your money with words of any kind is not easy. You got to hustle, man. You got to hustle hard to make money, and to make decent money as an editor and writer. You got to work really hard. It ain't easy, man. You got to work hard, and you got to look for those few opportunities that are out there, because there are fewer and fewer now. And so, but anyway, what is my point? The direction that it sent me on, it did end up bettering my life in terms of my career and my finances and all that. But it also led me on a path of self-exploration and exploration of the universe and exploration of God. And this thing that we call God, it's a mystery to me, man. But, yeah. And so there's kind of like a whole chain of events that I don't want to go into, but kind of complicated. But, like, people ask, like, what do I believe? What do I believe is that there is definitely more to this life in this universe than material. I don't believe in scientific materialism at all. There's definitely more to it. I believe firmly that every person here has a purpose. That purpose might not be like, it's like your purpose is revealed to you, and the purpose says, like, say you're supposed to be a gardener. And so then you set upon that course, and things don't work out. Like, you set upon the course, like, I'm going to be the greatest gardener in the world. And it doesn't quite work that way, and you end up being a gardener at, like, a small garden center for the rest of your life. I'm coming with this weird, I think I saw the plants in the background. I'm coming up with this weird example on the fly. But, and so then you go about it, and you realize that was your destiny. Your destiny was to be a gardener in this little local gardening center. Why? Who knows, man? That's the mystery. Like, I feel firmly that everybody has a purpose and a mission in this life, but I don't know why. I don't know what the end goal is. That's one of the things that I'm so driven to figure out and so driven to understand. And one of the reasons why I want to talk to so many people and figure things out. I'm not afraid to explore basically any system of ideas. Doesn't mean I use them or accept them, but I'll explore them and look into them. Since that time, I've just been kind of like on an obsessive quest to understand reality and to understand exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in this world, to understand how to better the world. And yeah, that's kind of where it went. And so on this journey, it's led me to all kinds of routes and things. Like I really like the idea of theosophy. About the only litmus test I have for a belief system on whether or not I feel I can explore it more. I don't like or trust belief systems that don't say that there is an inherent moral system in this universe, and it's purely instinctual. Probably instinctual, but I just really don't like the idea of saying, well, the universe doesn't care if you kill somebody or if you help them. Like, I'm not comfortable with that, man. Doesn't mean like I'll look into it. I'll be fair. I strive to be rational, and I can look at hard truths in the face, but that just doesn't feel right to me, man. That doesn't feel right to me, and I know that's maybe comes somewhat of a cop out, but I could argue it rationally, I think, but I'm not real concerned to. Like, I'm not real concerned with reasoning myself into nihilism. I don't see any real purpose to that, but yeah. And so then there's that. Okay, and then we get into the more complicated subject. And so, all right. To tell there's a whole bunch of stuff, and I'd be talking for like 2 hours. It's probably nobody's even still watching this now, and it's been like, 20 minutes or something like that. So I'm not going to go into all the details about that, but it's been a very long and profound journey. What I can say is this. Along that journey, I have had various occasions where I felt like I was contacted by a force in various ways. That each one's its own different story. But I came away from each one feeling very distinctly that force was a fellow named Jesus Christ. And yeah. And so... And then another thing is that, when this pandemic stuff kicked off, I took on a couple new spiritual practices because I was trying to keep myself grounded and sane and positive and focused. I didn't want to succumb to the fear and the hysteria, and so I took on a couple things. Like I did the Ganesh mantra, which is a Hindu mantra. The Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. It's very, very soothing. I don't know why. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So I took that on, and that was good. Took a bunch of things on, but the thing that really blew my doors off was the Jesus prayer. If you've never encountered the Jesus prayer, I got it from watching. There was a video of a Eastern Orthodox priest, and it's apparently big in Eastern Orthodoxy. There's a whole history behind it, and I've read. I actually am going to do a video called "The Mystery of the Jesus Prayer" because it's been an incredible experience. It seems so simple, but so the Jesus Prayer, you just say, "Lord Jesus Christ, Son of God, have mercy on me, a sinner." And I started saying that, and just had the most profound spiritual experiences of my life, other than the one I had overseas, and a couple ones that seemed to come out of random and just kind of zapped me out of nowhere. Like in terms of actual concerted practices that I did, that one was. It's hard to describe what a profound experience that has been. I could do a whole video about that, and I actually did do one video where I talked about it in the past. But I could do a whole video breaking that down because it sounds so simple, but man, the experience has not been simple. And also, there are a couple other biblical prayers that I say regularly, say basically every day. And when I pray to Jesus. But I don't like calling myself a Christian. And I have always avoided when people try to pigeonhole me into that. And there's a few reasons for it. Number one, and this is something that Jordan Peterson actually brought up, and I agree with, because it largely comes down to people say, well, do you believe in Jesus? What do you mean by believe, and what do you believe in Jesus? Now, a lot of less imaginative and maybe kind of thick-headed people will say, well, that's a stupid. It's not a stupid question. If you're actually interested, if you're actually a seeker, instead of just some ego nutball who wants to tell everybody else what the answer is, that you got all the answers, you got all the answers. If you like, you're a real seeker, you're really trying to understand, you'll understand that that's actually a very complex question. It's a very complex question. And it's not something that I would ever just say yes to or no to, because the question itself is too complicated. But then on top of that, I also try to avoid it because, look, man, I'm not interested I'm not interested in these stupid little games of like, well, the Catholics got the right way, or the Methodists got the right way, or blah, 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 blah. It's not my thing, man. If that's your thing, good. I don't, like, we all have our own road to walk in this world, man, but that's not my road. So if that's your road, cool. Peace be to you, but don't bring that to me. I don't need to hear any of that crap. I don't need any of these stupid, sloganeering, mindless, parroted, whatever. I don't need that shit in my life, man. And leave it at that. But and so, you know, all of these things with these experiences, I'm still trying to figure them all out. That's another reason why I'm not comfortable with calling myself a Christian. Though, let me be clear, when I say that I pray every day, I don't pray for cars or new things or anything. I pray for the same thing every single day. Well, I pray for two things. Every single day, I say, Lord, give me the courage, the wisdom, and not these exact words, but this is the concept that I pray for every day. Give me the courage, the wisdom, the conviction to work hard today, to be a good human being, to do the best that I can to make whatever positive difference I can in this world. That's like the most of my what I pray for. But I had said there were two things that I pray for. So yeah, I pray for that. And why did I say I pray for two things? And that is the gist of what I pray for. I just pray for the courage and the strength to do the right thing and to be a good person. Oh, and then I also pray for clarity on what I'm supposed to be doing, right? So it's kind of the same thing. It's really kind of the same thing. I just say, like, help me understand what I'm supposed to be doing here and give me the courage and conviction to actually do it and to do it effectively, and give me the selflessness to do it, you know? And so that's what I pray for, and I pray very fervently. But the other reason why I don't like calling myself a Christian, though I will always defend the honor of this man that people call Jesus Christ, but the reason why I don't is because you instantly have all these people that think that means that, like, you fit into some little box. My relationship with this thing, this force that I think of as Jesus Christ, my relationship is between him and me. That's it. It's not between any of you people. And I say this because of some of the comments I've gotten on boards and some of the emails and stuff. It's just kind of funny. It's like, it's just kind of amusing. You know, when I was in basic training, I had this drill sergeant that always used to say, don't mistake my kindness for weakness. And if he ever thought that we were beginning to mistake that, he would crush us, man. He'd crush us. He'd have us out there doing push-ups and squats and running through the mud and, you know, doing all this stuff. And that always stuck with me. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness. And I am a positive kind of person. And I really just want to get along with people and have fun, have a good time in life. But don't mistake that kindness for weakness, man. And so it's like when I see these people that think that they can leave their little messages and send me things about beliefs, it's like, dude, you're talking to the wrong fucking guy, man. Yeah, I don't need you. Go. I don't need you. Get out of here. Like, I am ruthless with cutting toxic people out of my life. Like, I am a very easygoing, forgiving person, just about everything, until you cross a certain line, and then it's like, dude, just get out of here. I don't need you, man. This life is too short, and I'm here to be positive and effective, and I don't need some kind of toxic dirtbag weighing on me. So, yeah, that's what I think when I see those comments from these pompous clowns. But anyway, My relationship is between me and him. And I don't have to prove the strength of that to anybody. I don't have to justify it. Nothing. It's between him and me. And that's it. And so that's essentially where I stand on things. Now, in direct relation, there had been somebody, and I forgot to look at the name, but I hope that person watches this, because this person respectfully asked if I consider myself a theosophist. To which I would say, no, I'm not even exactly sure what a theosophist is, like what that means. But I do like a lot of theosophical thoughts. I'm a huge fan of Rudolf Steiner. There's actually been few people that have helped me understand this mystical thing that we call Christianity. There have been few people that helped me understand that better than Rudolf Steiner. So I love Rudolf Steiner. I find Madame Blavatsky to be very interesting, but I don't know enough about her beliefs or ideas to really say. I know theosophy. I do also like that theosophy. To my understanding, if anybody out there, if you are like a more knowledgeable theosophist, please correct me. I'm totally open to correction. But to my understanding, theosophists view like reality as this evolving consciousness. And I really like that idea because it's an evolving consciousness with an underlying moral framework, which I think is really cool. I dig that. So I'm very sympathetic to that theosophical idea. I'm very sympathetic to several theosophical ideas that I've come across, but I wouldn't go so far as to call myself a theosophist. I read a lot of Gurdjieff, and I've been kind of returning to Gurdjieff. I think Gurdjieff is kind of considered like theosophy adjacent, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think he's considered a real theosophist. But again, correct me if that's wrong. But like I've learned a lot of great things from Gurdjieff. As actually a great example is I curse a lot by nature. I grew up in a blue collar area, Northeast Pennsylvania, and I got kind of a potty mouth, and I have to work against it. But and so forever, I always, people, the churchgoer types back home would always say, like, don't take the Lord's name in vain. Why? Because he doesn't like it. It's like, it seems so cheesy, but it was Gurdjieff. It was actually Gurdjieff who made me realize that is important, because Gurdjieff's idea was that essentially, like, the spoken word is kind of inherently profane, meaning that, like, the world of the spirit is something much more profound than can be spoken, and that the act of speaking things sometimes cheapens them. And that is why, again, anybody out there, correct me. I've read a lot of books in my life, but I'm very confident this is from Gurdjieff, but I can't remember where, but I could be wrong. But anyway, and so Gurdjieff said that you should not speak about these profound experiences, and that you should not, like, say the name of these forces, of these beings, of saviors, etc. That you should very much limit it. And when you do speak about it, it should only be when you're speaking about it very meaningfully. Like, you shouldn't use it conversationally. And you which then extends to, like, you sure as heck shouldn't say it in anger, and use the Lord's name in anger in that way, because it cheapens that spark inside you by saying it through your mouth, and it cheapens it. And that also overlaps with my own personal experience, because I've noticed it's happening right now. Like, these things that are really profound in my heart and in my mind, when I say them, they don't feel that way. And after saying them, it kind of feels like they've cheapened them a little bit. So, like, Gurdjieff saying that made me say, all right, yeah, I'm gonna start really working to stop using the Lord's name in vain, because that makes sense to me. What didn't make sense to me was some people just saying, well, just because you just don't. I'm not the kind of person who blindly follows orders. You got to give me some reasoning and justification. And yeah. And I almost feel like that kind of, like, describes my path and why I'm hesitant to call myself a Christian. It's like, I call myself a Christian, I'm get dragged through the mud of this shallow, dull interpretations of things, and that's not. I know what I experienced, and I know what I felt, and I know what I feel, And yeah, there's no person on this earth that is you don't get to tell me how to define my beliefs. And so yeah. But anyway, that's basically the gist of it. At this point, I'm just rambling on. I honestly started this video thinking I could encapsulate all this in like 2 minutes, and it's like 35 minutes. I'll be amazed if anybody's watching this right now, man. But yeah, that's where I am. And so with this channel, all these people that I'm talking to, I'm not looking to evangelize or spread my beliefs. I'm looking to hear what other people think about things. I'm interested in other people's belief systems and what can be used from them practically, and how they could help me better understand this crazy reality that we live in. But most importantly, help me understand how I'm supposed to be living in this reality. That's the most important thing to me. I'm like anybody else. I spent way too much time in my life doing trivial things, and for however much time I have left in this world, I want to focus on being the best person that I can be, making up for all the wrongs that I've done, and focusing on the light and the positive, and doing good things for this world and for people. Like, that's it, man. It's as simple as that. I mean, this took me like almost 40 minutes to get here, but it's as simple as that. That's my belief system. So, that's about it, man. All right, peace out, everybody. 2022, I hope you are finding some peace and positivity and some, because these are crazy times. And I truly hope that you can find a direction to give you a meaningful drive to go in, because we need to have purpose and we need to have goals, even in the worst times, maybe especially in the worst times. And so I hope you are finding some success, however you define that, and I hope that you are moving forward with your life. And I mean that sincerely, my friends. Great 2022s to everybody. Peace out.